So yesterday I finally finished Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and man do I have a lot to say about it. Now I want to start off by saying by no means is this game a bad game or a trash game. The game to me is good or okay at worst. Alright, so like I just said before, I've got a lot to say about this game, so I'm just going to start off with the good things, the positives. First off, the game feels well made. It feels like it's polished. It was worked on for a long time because it was. I didn't feel any drops in frame rates or any lag spikes or anything like that, which is good because if you're gonna go for a game like this, a live service game, then you better make sure that there's no drops in frame rates and everything runs smoothly if you're gonna be able to play with your friends and everything. This is also really surprising to me how well the game held up despite everything being on screen at once. So many different enemies and just shooting, numbers, everything. I'm surprised it held up the way it did. The cutscenes were done really well. The interactions between the characters, the voice acting, their movements, their facial animations, the facial animations in this game, top tier. And what impressed me even more about the facial animations is the fact that when they're not in a cutscene, when you're just around in the city talking and you look at your character when they're speaking, they actually look like they're talking and saying words and not just mumbling. Their mouths actually move along with the words that they're saying, and I was really surprised by it. A lot of games, graphics in the cutscenes and their animation, facial animations in the cutscenes will be really well done. Then when you get out into the kind of open world or just the gameplay part of it, they won't be all that good. Which isn't much of a problem because realistically, who's going to be looking at their characters talk while they're out doing missions and stuff? Me, I did that in this game. I mentioned the voice acting and the character interaction before. They were both done really well, and this game was actually filled with a lot of funny moments, and they weren't all forced funny moments. They kind of just came along naturally with these characters. There was just a lot of genuinely funny moments, a lot of funny reactions you see the characters have, and just had me laughing, especially with the great facial animation and all the realistic character movement. It just made everything way funnier. Next up, the open world. No doubt you can tell Rocksteady made this open world Metropolis. They got their fingerprints all over it. Even with Gotham City and Metropolis being complete opposites, they both have that feeling. That Rocksteady feeling, I guess you could call it. It's filled with a bunch of Easter eggs, a bunch of nods to different characters. The city looks good in general, and it just felt like a lot of care and passion was put into the city. Surrounding the Justice League, the city has so much to show of them. Every corner you turn, every wall you see has a Superman painting on it. You see Justice League posters everywhere. Characters like Wonder Woman, The Flash, Batman, Green Lantern. You see them all everywhere. There's a Superman statue in the middle of the city. So with that, once again, they did a great job. Props to them. And real quick, I just want to go back to the voice acting. The Justice League. Seems like the voice actors for all the characters that came in, did what they had to do, which is playing Evil Justice League, and they all did great, and that includes, of course, Kevin Conroy. One of his last performances as Batman, and it seems like he had some fun to me. Not sure how many times he had the opportunity to play an evil Batman, so it was nice to see him have a little bit more room to switch it up a little bit. You know, be a little less brooding, more cocky, and evil, of course. Now for the traversal in the game, it's really good. It's fun. Me personally, I played mostly as Harley, and I guess my second most playable character was Captain Boomerang, but really for the whole duration of my playthrough, I played Harley. I just got so used to swinging and grappling everywhere and swinging and shooting my 350 bullet minigun at everyone. So yeah, for all the characters, it's really good and really smooth. Of course, it depends on who you rather play as, what your playstyle is and everything. You might be better with one character than another. Okay, now this is where I kind of start to get into the negatives. The gameplay loop. Other than the movement, the traversal, the gameplay does kind of get repetitive. I actually found a lot of fun while playing the game. I didn't find it it was repetitive, but I didn't really get annoyed by it, but I can see how other people might be bored and get annoyed by it. Like I said before, I just had a lot of fun from swinging from Harley's drone with my minigun that had 350 bullets. Like, you barely have to reload, and when you do, it takes like 2 seconds. Then you just get back to shooting, and while you're up in the sky, you just chuck down some afflicted grenades and you light them up again. So for me, that made things pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. But again, I can see how people can easily get bored with this when you're going around killing the same enemy faction, doing the same moves to take out certain enemies. You know, it can get boring. So if you're someone who quickly gets tired of repetitive gameplay loops, then this game will not be for you. Really, what I believe keeps it fresh is the movement along with the combat. If you're just standing on the ground shooting enemies and taking hits from enemies a lot, then it's going to be boring and you're not going to really get the best experience. So if you're going to play this, I suggest that when you're in combat, always use your traversal mechanics. Try to stay up high, try to constantly be on the move, running and gunning. I think that'll definitely make the gameplay loop for most people much more digestible, I guess you could say. Now for the good stuff, the story. Yep, you know what's coming. Or I guess I should say the story and how the boss fights ended. Now the premise of Kill the Justice League is a good one, a bold one, but nonetheless a good one. But it's only good when you do it in a good way, and they didn't really do that in this game. They didn't do the Justice League justice. There were small moments here and there, and that's why I appreciate what they tried to do with this game, what they did do with this game, but there just wasn't enough of it. Going into this game with the premise and all, we all already knew that the Justice League was going to be severely nerfed and underpowered for the Suicide Squad to even have a chance of defeating them. So for me, them being nerfed and them dying even isn't where the problem lies. The problem for me is when they die and nothing happens. Like for every character, their deaths are so anticlimactic is the only word I can use. Like for Superman, when we're fighting him, the boss fight, we get a 2-second cutscene of him just blasting his laser beams in the sky uncontrollably, and then he just falls to the ground and dies. The Flash, he doesn't get a cutscene. As soon as you hit him with the last shot in the boss fight, he just falls over and dies. That's it. No last words, no yell, no nothing. Green Lantern has somewhat of a respectable death. You know, he talks his talk to the squad, then Deadshot puts a bullet in his head, and it was a whole cutscene. That's it. Now, Batman, bro. The Arkham Batman. The same Batman that we had 4 games of. The same one that took out all his villains in one night 4 times. He gets shot in the head by Harley Quinn on a park bench in front of the Superman statue. Now again, the problem isn't Batman dying. That's not the problem at all. Batman can die. He is a man. All these guys can die. It's just how you execute it. I know that he's under mind control. He's not in control of his actions, his thoughts, and all that. But still, you can't take him out like that, man. Not Arkham Batman, bro. I don't even want to say you can't do that because obviously it can. I just mean you shouldn't. Why would you take out Batman like this? Why would you take out Arkham Batman like this, you know? And I really don't even want to get too much into it because for me, it just comes down to giving him a respectable death. To me, it's not about taking away his plot armor and seeing what happens. It's just about giving him an honorable and respectable death. You know why? Because he deserves one. He went through all that stuff in the Arkham games, and he dies like this. Really? Again, it's not about him dying. It's about how they execute it. If they can make it more impactful and more respectable. Now, with that being said, there are theories that the Justice League isn't actually dead. I thought about this from the beginning before the game came out. I was thinking that these were clones of the Justice League, and it's very possible that they are clones. Like with the Flash, Boomerang cut off one of his fingers, I think his thumb. Then when he comes back from being mind controlled by Brainiac, his thumb is back. And same for Superman. Diana, Wonder Woman, stabs him with a huge piece of kryptonite, pretty much just pushes it into his heart, but it doesn't do anything. So maybe after being mind controlled, his DNA was somehow altered to the point where green kryptonite doesn't do anything to him, so they get the gold kryptonite to kill him. Anyway, yeah, that's just my take on the game, my review, I guess you could say. Let me know what you guys think. The game isn't for everybody. Like I said, for me, I thought the game was pretty good. Thought it was okay to good. Wasn't terrible, wasn't trash, wasn't great by any means, but I thought it was a good game, a solid game. I had my fun with it. Let me know what you guys think with the video. Like the video if you like, subscribe. See you in the next one.